While we don't know when the final day is scheduled, we're not left without warnings about its nearness. And before you look at the signs of the times, before we look at some of those things, I want you to understand a few things about the last days. And I'm going to explain about 4 things that are very important to understand that help us to grasp this idea of the signs of the last day. First of all, there's an extended period of time in the Bible called the last days. Acts chapter 2, verses 17 and 18, Peter on the day of Pentecost, Jesus has now ascended back to the right hand of God the Father. They've been waiting in the upper room in Jerusalem, and the Holy Spirit is outpoured upon them, and Peter begins to preach a gospel message, and he says, in the last days, God says, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your young men will see visions, your old men will dream dreams, even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my Spirit in those days, and they will prophesy. And so here Peter says, this is now the inauguration. This is the beginning of the last days. And so the second thing to understand is that these last days began when Jesus ascended to heaven. As soon as Jesus left the planet, after his resurrection, he goes to the Mount of Olives, and he's taken up into glory, seated at the right hand of God the Father, and at his ascension, the last day countdown began. Talk about maybe a football game. And in a football game, there are 4 quarters in a football game, and there's the beginning of the game and the end of the game. And there's a game clock that goes along with it. And that game clock, when does the game clock start? The game clock starts as soon as the kickoff occurs, right? And as soon as the kickoff occurs, everything is a countdown from that point forward. There are different seasons. There are 4 seasons or 4 quarters, you might say, or if you're a baseball fan, there are 9 innings. And so you're moving from the first inning to the 9th inning, or the first quarter to the 4th quarter. And that's the way we need to view history, that we've started when Jesus went back to heaven. That began inning number 1, or the first quarter of the last days. And we're progressively moving toward the 4th quarter, or the 9th inning of the last days. And the game clock is ticking down each and every day. Every day of your life and my life, we are closer to the end. Every day.